And Steve Spurrier, who was Jadeveon Clowney's coach at South Carolina, joining us. What do you make of these comments here, Coach?
Well, I tell you what, Dan, it was unusual last year that Jadeveon, of course, the hit against Michigan, like you just mentioned, it was shown for 8 months all over the world. The hit heard around the world, they called it. And people just assumed, well, he's going to do that every game next year, and the South Carolina defense is just going to clobber people, and they're not going to have a chance. Well, that didn't happen because they had two guys waiting on him every pass play. So he was limited quite a bit. And the other side, he didn't have to play last year. Can you imagine being the number one pick, whether or not you played or not? And that's where the position he was in. So we had to sort of handle all that, and I think Jadeveon did an excellent job. And when that bowl game was over, Dan, and he was healthy, and we were 11-2 and top 10 in the country, I mean, we had a bunch of happy Gamecocks then.
But atrocious football player. That's pretty strong. Is Jadeveon Clowney not a good football player, but a great athlete?
Well, he's both. He's a really good football player when that, and obviously pass rushing is what he does best. And he can sidestep those linemen. He can sort of power move them when he has to. But he's a pass rusher like nobody I think I've ever seen in college football. Certainly.
Why is it open season on Jadeveon Clowney?
Well, they watched the tape, and he did miss a couple of games with some minor injuries. That maybe they said, well, he could have played or this, that, and the other, but not really. He was hurt. And, again, he was in a different position. Most players, to be the number one pick, they have to have a super junior year or senior year, and they vault themselves into that number one position. He was already there. He had nowhere to go but down. So it was very unique. And I tell you what, I think myself, our assistant coaches, our strength coaches, and Jadeveon, we handled the situation about as good as you could.
Why do we stereotype guys? That they'll be the hard worker, high motor, and then they'll be the great athlete. We seem to frame it that way. Why do we do that?
Oh, I think just there's so much conversation now that you look for every angle to talk about instead of just saying, "Hey, this guy, he's really, I think, the best pass rusher, obviously out there." And it's just conversation, something to talk about.
Would you take Jadeveon number one overall if you're the Texans?
Yeah, I think you have to. Now, if there was an Oliver Luck.
Or
Andrew Luck, Oliver's son.
Yeah.
If he was available, then I think you have to consider a guy like him. But, it seems like all the quarterbacks everybody has their favorite quarterback. Who knows who's going to be the best. And so maybe the sure pick would be Jadeveon.
Here was one thing I noticed about Johnny Manziel. If he played at Nevada like Colin Kaepernick did, everybody would say the same thing. Well, let's see what he'd do against the SEC. So he does it against the SEC. But that somehow doesn't validate him. Why is that?
I don't have any idea. I think his style is a little different, obviously, than most NFL quarterbacks. But obviously, Russell Wilson at 5'11" just won the Super Bowl. But he played with a really super team, the Seahawks, probably the best defensive team in the league, and their offense was very good also. But time will only tell how Johnny would do. If he's with a good team, I think he'll play very well. If he's with a bad team, you struggle.
And that's what I was talking about yesterday, that Kaepernick goes to the Niners, Russell goes to Seattle. If you go to Jacksonville, I may not see you again for the next couple of years.
Yeah, that's true. There'll be maybe a lot of scrambling around at some of those teams. But time will tell. Sometimes NFL teams can get a lot better quickly. So personnel departments, sometimes they hit on the right guys, and you obviously have to have that quarterback who's the leader and the spark of your team.
Did you know that Tebow had limitations? When obviously great quarterback in college, but if you were looking at pro potential, could you see that there was not that much pro potential when you're watching him in college?
I didn't really think that far ahead. I heard Urban Meyer say that Tebow, I think, is one of the highest-rated passers in the history of college football. His percentage was very good. and he threw the long ball, short ball. He threw all the passes. I don't know what happened after that, but I think everybody tried to redo his throwing motion and this, that, and the other. And I sort of think he's the type of player that you just got to let him go play. And he's better in the games than he is, throwing against the air. He's one of those kind of players. And Danny Werfel was that way too, Dan. You watch him just throwing against the air. He didn't look all that super, but when the game started, he was the best.
Why is that, though?
Some players are like that, and some players look very good out there in shorts, firing it around, and then when the game starts, they're not quite as good. It's just we all got different DNA, and some of those guys can really do it when the game's live.
Well, it seems like Joe Montana was like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like Joe struggled to start at Notre Dame, and then you'd watch him and you'd say, is he the kicker for the 49ers? And then all of a sudden the game would start and you go, oh, the best player is right there, number 16.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's guys like that. Mm-hmm.
How's off season? How much golf are you getting in?
Well, trying to play a little bit. Played yesterday over at the Dunes course in Myrtle Beach and had a booster meeting there. Didn't play very well. Shot 86.
Wow.
But it was low for the guys I was playing with. So sometimes it's all relative,
Sometimes you want to play with bad golfers.
That's right. Yeah. Sometimes it just depends on who you're playing with, if you're good or not.
More frustrating, golf or coaching?
Well, coaching's been it's been a lot easier than golf the last several years. We've been very fortunate here, Dan, to win 11 games, as you know, the last 3 years and finish in the top 10 every year. And so we've won our share of close games. I read an article the other day that out of 14 games decided less than 7 points, we've won 11 of them. And that's how we go 11-2, because we're not going to clobber a bunch of teams at all. So we've been very fortunate.
Is this your last stop?
Yeah, I think so. I've said that from way back that this is should be my last stop, and how much longer it goes, who knows? One of my friends down in Florida said, you'll be there as long as you were at Florida, and he said that 5 years ago. And I said, well, I don't know. You never know. But
have you gotten a call? When's the last time you got a call about another job?
Another job?
Yeah.
Oh, probably 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, I think people understood that this is where I want to stay and finish up.
That wasn't to go back to Florida, was it?
No.
Oh,
no,
okay.
No.
Okay. Big job? Was it?
I think Will Muschamp will get it going down there. They've got a lot of good players, and
No, the offer. It was another big job. Not an NFL job?
Well, it didn't lead to anything.
Okay.
No, it wasn't NFL.
Okay.
No,
Yeah,
it didn't lead.
Done with that. You got 18 in you today?
Got any what?
18.
No, I think I'm going to try to hit some balls. I can't hit the green. I hit a lot of good drives. I can't hit the green from 140 yards out. So I got to get my iron play straightened out somehow before Lake Tahoe. Are you going out this year to Tahoe? I
might go out just to watch.
Oh, okay.
It's yeah. I'd like to go out, but I don't want to get humbled. When it's on TV, you can get humbled real quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, great to talk to you again. Have a great summer, and thanks for joining us, Coach.
Okay, Dan. Good talking to you.
All right. That's Steve Spurrier, head ball coach.